Hi everyone, Don Singletary, and welcome to the channel. I hope you'll join our over 10,000 subscribers as we learn. We only do one thing here on the channel. That's we teach beginners how to trade futures, specifically the stock equity index futures. Perhaps you know them better as the S&P500 and the NASDAQ100 index for the stock market. Now, this is not your normal type of investing. In stocks, if you want to trade $20,000 worth of stocks and you open a margin account, you have to put up at least $10,000 to be able to control that $20,000 worth of stock. Well, instead of $10,000 trading futures, equity index futures, the Micro Eminis, you might only have to put up around $200 or $300 to be able to trade $20,000 of nominal value. That's huge leverage, like 70 to 1. And I have to be honest, right up front, I'm going to tell you, this isn't for everybody. It's a very high leveraged, fast moving type of trading. People ask me, well, that's kind of like gambling, isn't it? And they're surprised when I say, yes, it is, 100%. In fact, it's probably the biggest casino in the world. And now you can get it on your iPhone. It's perfectly legal. You can trade about 6 days a week for 23 hours a day around the clock on the Globex market and the day trading market, which we're going to talk about today. I'll show you a live trade, tell you some of the ins and outs, and I'd like to say welcome to the channel again, and I'll show you how this thing works, so stand by. Coming up in a minute, I'm going to show you the live trade of the week, the featured trade of the week, which was on November 30th, 2021. But first, I'm going to tell you about a mistake I made. That was the day the Fed chairman spoke, and the markets were crazy down after about 10:30 in the morning. I'll have more on that in just a moment. But I was trading, and I got several $100s ahead very quickly while I was trading on that day. And I did the thing that gamblers do when they go to the tables at Las Vegas. I took the attitude that I was playing with the house's money because it was easy made money. All I did was click a mouse and read the news, and I made all this money. So what happened was, I'll cut to the end of the story here, is I gave at least half of it back to the market because I convinced myself I was playing with the house's money. Don't ever do that. Cost me several $100s yesterday. Did I have fun? Well, yeah, I did. Well, until I lost half of it back, I did. I had a great time. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, I want to show you this newsletter, Morning Squawk, that I get. It's free. You can sign up for it at cnbc.com. And they had, it's up on the screen now, they had this morning newsletter. I go to the cnbc.com about 45 minutes before I get the newsletter, but I'm just using the newsletter here. It's the same stuff to show you how it read them. Now, this is on Tuesday, November 30th, and down here is the story. I'll draw a red circle around that. It tells you right there, Jerome Powell, along with a previous Fed chair, Janet Yellen, we're going to expound on their prepared remarks during the day to Congress. And it turns out that happened just about 10:30. Now watch this. Okay, you can see there at 10:30, I put the time box up in there. This is the NASDAQ100. It trades at $2 a point. In just 15 to 20 minutes, it dropped from 16,433 down to 16,113. That's 320 points. Folks, if you're trading in the middle of that move, it was 25 minutes and it moved $640. You do not want to be on the wrong side of that trade, or not paying attention, or not have a stop in place, or any of those things. People with experience trading read the brief of the day to get the important events that could affect the stock indexes during the day. And nobody in their right mind with experience would trade close to 10 to 10:30, somewhere in that area, because this is a huge event. We have an economy that's been going bull market gangbusters for way over 10 years. And this is the first time interest rates have been near zero. And when the Fed announces they're thinking about raising those interest rates, that means it costs all the business in the world more to use money because money costs more. And that causes their prices to go down. So you could have a really deep drop. If it's temporary, it's temporary. If it's not, it's not. But it doesn't matter. When you're trading in there, you don't want to be in that game at that particular moment. Remember that, and it'll save you some money more than once, I promise. You know, I try to be careful here because I have 10,000 subscribers, and the majority of those, maybe half of them, are brand new traders to futures trading. So I don't want to throw them in the deep end of the pool before they've had the swimming lessons as a general rule, but I'm going to break that rule right now because we're going to have some fun. I put this slide back up, and you see that 320-point move, that $640 drop in 25 minutes. I often get asked in the comments and commentary beneath it's in the text below the videos, the comments down there, and I enjoy reading them. I try to respond to each and every one of them that I can. So I do get asked, how can I trade the opening? I think the opening's gonna be a big move one way or the other, and it's true, that often happens. It's a very logical and expected question to get. How can you trade that? Well, you see this drop right here, that $640 drop. You can put in a bracket order with a fairly tight stop and then make a 50-50 guess on which way it's going to go. Now, in my opinion, that's a move that's not for beginners. However, if you are a certified adrenaline junkie, bracket kamikaze trader, you can do that. And let me show you how that might work. Okay, remember, we're going to be doing this with the genius of hindsight. Let me set this trade up for you. We're going to try to do a bracket order right at the 9:30 opening and try to make some money. And we know the market is either going to go up or down. In fact, it does both, you know. And the genius of hindsight makes this kind of trade look enormously easy, but it isn't. It can empty your account if you blow it. So be careful out there. But once you hear this trade, you're not going to be able to get it out of your brain until you try it. With a trade simulation, I hope, and not with real money, because it's very, very risky and not anywhere near as easy as it looks. Okay, here's the setup. I just took a chart from this morning, December 2nd, 2021. It's say it's 9:28, a couple of minutes before the market opens. Now, we don't know if the market's going to go up or down or both or anything, but we're going to take a calculated risk. We're going to say we have a 50-50 chance. It's either going to go up or it's going to go down. And so we put in a bracket order, and we're going to buy at whatever the market's trading, let's say 45.10 to have an even number here. And say we put a 5-10-point loss on there. Let's just put a stop loss at 10 points down. That would be 4,500 even. Okay, now we're trading at $5 a point, so that would mean we're going to risk $50 on this trade. So, and we put a target up at say 45.30. And we're going to pull the trigger on this trade and see what happens. Well, you see right at 9:30 or 45.10, it does go down to maybe 45.03 or 4, and then it shoots straight up and goes past your target of 45.30. So you've made 20 points at $5 a point. You made $100. Now, had you lost the trade, remember you had a 10-point stop on it, so 5 times 10 would be a loss of $50. Say you had a 2-to-1. You're either going to lose $50 or make $100. Now, doesn't that look incredibly easy? And you got to think, if I just lose $50 half the time and make $100 half the time, I've got a money machine. I can just print my own money. Well, you know that little voice in the head? It lies to you. It tells you this is incredibly easy, and you'd be crazy not to try it. And I'm telling you, I don't recommend it. But you can play with it and see what happens. Things like that are good, really, so you can train and look at things and begin to think in different ways about trading and how you can structure some bracket orders on occasions when you think the market may move. Now, on this particular morning, December the 2nd, it was on December the 1st, yesterday, that the first virus, Omicron, was found in the United States, the first case, and the market tanked rather big. So you could expect some bounce today, or you could say, oh boy, that's really terrible news, and the market's going to open, and it might go up for a minute, but it's going to really be down today again. And whether you're right or wrong doesn't matter, because you make your plans and pull the trigger at 9:28, and then you're at the market's mercy when it opens. Now, isn't that fun? It's a grande cojones trade, indeed. I call it the bracket kamikaze trade, and I don't recommend it, especially for beginners. Okay, the featured trade of the week is coming up next. For just a moment, I'd like to ask for your help. If you want to see another video similar to today's video, hit the like button. It's kind of like a vote, and it helps me decide what subjects to make future videos on. So I appreciate your help on that. And my book on Amazon for day trading the Micro Eminis. It's a great, easy, and very progressed building block type of way to learn to trade futures if you've never done it before. It only costs about the price of a large pizza, and it is my hope you'd make your money back many times. So check out the book listing at the book link in the text below this video. Thank you for that. Now, let's get into the trade of the week. Now, this trade of the week is going to be easy to explain the setup here. If you're new to the channel, I try to talk about the how and why, but I choose a trade before I turn the live trade recording on. So this is what I call the setup screen. We've already talked about this day. It was November 30th, 10:35. Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, and Secretary of Treasury Janet Yellen made comments and brought the market spindling down rather fast and rather a long way very quickly. But then it seemed to have bottomed out between 11 and 11:30. You can see in the box there. And what I interpreted from that, we're always looking now to enter a trade. We want to find some edge that would give us what we think is a lower risk trade selection. Now, on this day, it went down. It had a whole hour between 11 and 11:45, almost a whole hour, to bounce back up. And that's the problem when the market goes down or up this fast. It often turns around and goes the other way because it realizes it had an overreaction to some news. But in this case, from 11 to 11:45, it didn't do that. It had a whole hour to bounce back up. It didn't do it. So therefore, I chose to go short at around 11:45, as I'll show you in a moment, because I felt the market might continue this downtrend. I felt the odds were in the favor. It was a lower risk entry point that I spotted for the reasons I just explained. Now let's get into the live trade. Now I'm entering the live trade with a bracket order. If you're not familiar with that, I have a video. Look below the video here in the text for bracket OCO link, and there's a short video on how to do that. I'm trying to enter around 16,120, and I have my stop about 10 points up, which is about $20. I'm only trading one contract. It's $2 a point. And when I enter it, I put my initial target at 16,100. Now, the trade only lasted about 2.5 minutes. Went back up, as you'll see in a minute, back to 16,128, then down to 16,124. I was 2 minutes into the trade, had about 30 seconds to go, so I reach up, get my Tastyworks mouse. I start at 16,124, and I'm dragging the stop down as the price is going down. Watch the red price over in the right-hand margin there. It's gone from 124 to 109 in 10 seconds. and it's still going down. So I still have my left mouse button down, and I'm following this thing down like a bird dog, just tracking it. 16,101, I'm $34 up now, 16,098, and I wonder how far it's going to go. Now, this has been a very volatile day, and the first 2 minutes of a trade, it did nothing, so I'm ready to get paid. So I pull my stop down, and I let it go at 16,095.5. And as it turns out, I get stopped out right there, and I make $44 on the trade. So now let's quickly do the numbers. You got to look at the entire premise of this particular trade. 2.5 minutes made $44.50. I figured it out. It's fun. You'll never make this much. That's a rate of $1,068 an hour. But hey, the math is fun, right? Maximum drawdown $22. Maximum unrealized gain 64. We got 44. That's about 66% in there, and I'm much satisfied with that. On a trade like this, it took longer to set the trade up, to think about it, and to find it than the trade lasted. It only lasted 2.5 minutes, and I put a lot of thought, and I watched the charts on and off for quite a while before I decided to get brave enough to try to short this. You know, this was a day where we had a lot of volatility. We were moving, remember, at one point in the morning, we moved a value of $640 in only 25 minutes. So you got to be careful when you're trading, and you really, really got to try to find a lower risk entry point for a trade. That's the key to trade selection. And if you can't find it, don't do it, because the number one mistake is over trading. You sit there, you get all dressed up to go, and there's nowhere to go. You get the account, you have your money ready, you spend time, you chart, you read, you learn, you watch videos, and then there's no trade. And leave it that way, because it's the trades you don't make that will probably save you the most money. If you please, do me a favor and hit the like button if you want to see more videos like the one you saw today. And remember to subscribe to the channel, and you'll be notified of the new videos we put up every week. And these are a lot of fun. I look at it as a chance to learn. You know, the nominal value. Let me tell you what that is. The nominal value. Let's take this NASDAQ100 we just traded. At 16,117. Now, $2 a point, that's $32,234 of value that we control for a margin deposit of about $300 or $400 or less. That's over 70-to-1 leverage. If you want to buy 100 shares of a $50 stock, that's $5,000 you got to put up on margin, $2,500. And you get so much more bang for the buck with these things. And you got to remember, it was impossible to trade this way up until May of 2019. This is a new product, the Micro Eminis. They are 1/10 size. Now, zero in on the screen. See there where it says profit, $44.50? That's because I was trading a 1/10 size micro contract. Now, once you learn how to trade, people ask me all the time, why you trading, trying to make $15, $20, $40 here and there? You know, I want something a little more than that. That's okay, because our channel does something different. We teach people how to trade futures, and you got to learn, you got to get confidence, you got to know how to use the software and all those other things that take time. And you do have to give it time. And you can afford to do that when you're trading at 1/10 size. Now, had we been trading the regular NASDAQ 100, 10 times larger, it would have made $445 on this trade in 2.5 minutes. Now, don't get ahead of yourself. Learn to trade small first. Get your confidence, get your mechanics down. Find out what works for you and what doesn't. There's no magic formula. It's like a shoe that would fit every foot in the world. There's no magic formula that exists. You have to use that computer between your ears. You have to think. You have to think about your risk aversion. You have to be patient. You have to learn how to look for trades, all those things. And you know what? It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun learning those things. And like I said at the beginning of the video today, you know, this is like the biggest casino in the world. And it sure is a lot of fun. But don't lose your money while you're trying to learn. Trade with these Micro Eminis. Now, that's all we do on this channel. Nothing else. This is the place. I have over 100 free videos. Check out my book, subscribe so you see the video for next week. And thanks for being here today. I sure had a heck of a good time. I'm Don Singletary, and I hope every day is a payday for you. Thank you.